All right, guys, so we are going to be talking a little bit more about comparative and superlative adjectives. One thing that I want to mention that there will be a secret code in this video. However, I will not say it. So be looking at your paper so that way you can catch what that secret code is. I want to be sure that you are following along with these notes. All right, so we have comparative and superlative. So when we're talking about comparative, we are comparing two things, okay? When we are talking about superlative, we are talking about three or more things, okay? So out of everything, all right? So that's superlative. We're going to be discussing the difference between the irregular adjectives, good and bad, all right? So I'm going to cover the good first. We have better, okay? Uncle Tim's buttermilk pie is better than store-bought. So I'm comparing two different things, Uncle Tim's and store-bought. And I'm saying that Uncle Tim's is better. Then I come down here to look at Jack is better than Jill at running. So in comparison, Jack is better than Jill when it comes to running. Okay, I'm comparing those two things right there. Okay, so let's jump down and look at this next example with best. So we're talking about out of everything. Uncle Tim's buttermilk pie is the best. So out of all the pies, Uncle Tim's is the best, right? Jack is the best runner. So out of all the runners that exist, Jack is the best. All right? So when we're talking about comparative, okay, we're comparing two things. When we're talking about superlative, we are talking about out of everything. So let's talk about bad, worse, and worst. So this type of work hurts worse than a stubbed toe. So I'm comparing how this type of work is worse than a stubbed toe. I'm comparing two things. Today is worse than yesterday. So I am saying I'm comparing the two things. So in comparison, today is worse than yesterday. Okay, so that's worse than. When I say this type of work is the worst. So out of all the work that exists, this particular type of work is the worst. Okay, next example. Today is the worst day ever. So out of all the days that exist, today is the worst. Okay, so out of all my days that I've had, this one has got to be up there with the worst. Okay, so one thing that I kind of also want to talk to y'all a little bit about is these key words right here, than and the. A big giveaway, if we see the word than, we know that it's comparing two things. But if we see the word the, we know that typically this word is going to come after it. Is it always that case? Does this word always have to be there? No. Does this word always have to be there? No. There's always those exceptions to the rule. But typically you'll be able to tell if by looking at, is it comparing two things or is it telling me out of everything? All right? One thing that I want to run through with y'all really quick is y'all's IXL. I want to do a couple of examples with you. So this stale donut is even blank than the burnt toast I had for breakfast, Jared said. So our base word is bad. So we're going to use either worse or worst. Okay? Are we comparing two things? Or are we saying this stale donut is out of everything? So that's one thing you need to think about. So we're comparing the two. So then we would use worse, because also there's also a key word right there for us, than. Okay? Golden Raspberry Awards, also known as Razzies, are awarded to the movies that the Golden Raspberry Award Foundation believes are the blank movies of the year. So we're going to use the base word bad. So is it comparing two things, or is it telling us out of all the movies? Okay, you're right. It's telling us out of all the movies. So we would use worst. And it's also, there's a good keyword there for us to know. We should empty the gutters this weekend since the weather next weekend is supposed to be even blank. Our base word is bad. So it's telling us that we're comparing this weekend to next weekend. So when should they do it? So that's what they're discussing. So we would use worse. So that's one of those other times that I was telling y'all about. The word than won't always be there. Wayne thought that the pain from the wasp sting was blank than the pain from any bee sting he had ever experienced. So there's a key word there, than. We're comparing two things, so we would use the comparative, which is worse. In the summer of 1793, one of the blank yellow fever outbreaks in history swept through the streets of Philadelphia. So, are we looking at the comparative or the superlative? We're looking at the superlative because we are not comparing two things. So, we would say worst. Okay, so you can see Miss Keith made a 100. You only have to make an 80. All right, but I expect you to do the very best you can and go out there and be successful, because I believe in you. And I also miss you very, very much. And if you have any troubles, don't be afraid to chat, because I'm here to help you. All right, good luck.